Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Rob, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist. Every week we take inspiration from a recent or upcoming release to spark a conversation about some of our favourite gaming moments. With creeping psychological horror The Inpatient clawing its way inside your PlayStation VR on the 24th of January, we thought it was a good idea to talk about games that just gave us more than we could handle. As we all know what happens to Dave when scary things come at him in all-encompassing virtual reality. But this isn't necessarily all about horror though, as Holly is about to demonstrate.
So a game that took it too far for me is actually not even out yet. See what I'm doing here?
Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Privilege.
I know. I've played the game about 6 hours worth actually of gameplay at an event in December, and it is Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a game that me and Rob are pretty excited for. It's just kind of nuts. This sounds like a really daft explanation, but imagine Skyrim and take out anything that's mildly fantasy. So a historically accurate open world medieval adventure game.
Sold.
See? Great, right? So you play the game and it's got some pretty brutal battles in it, because again they go for sort of historical accuracy in their battles. So you're like chopping off limbs, everyone's bleeding to death. It's all pretty intense. And then at one point in the game, you have to track down this assassin.
Okay.
And he is hiding in a monastery. So obviously you need to infiltrate the monastery and smoke out the rat. But to do that, you join the cloister.
Oh God.
But you've got to remember the prayer, and then it's obviously got a day-night cycle. It doesn't move in real time. I think it's, if I remember what Tobias said, I think 24 minutes for daytime, 24 minutes for nighttime,
Okay.
I think. But you have to go to mass twice a day.
Wait, so in the game you have to become a monk?
Yeah, and you literally have to, and you can't run in the corridors, because if you run you'll get told off because there's no running, and there's no talking to people because you don't, obviously everyone's taking a vow of silence.
Sounds like school.
It's mental.
A monk's not allowed to run?
No, apparently it's fun, so you can't run. So you'll get in trouble for running, but then it's meal time, and then you've got to go to the canteen area in the monastery, and you've got to get your bowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well they've got to eat. I mean, what would you call it? A room where the tables are.
Well, they have smileys.
Turkey twisted. Oh, no, it's even worse. You get your bowl, and you sit at your table, and then you have to do the eat animation, press X to eat, in silence until everybody's finished eating, and then you can leave. And then while one of the brothers recites chapters from the Bible.
This is amazing. Did you catch the assassin?
No.
Oh, all this, you became a monk and
No,
that's it now.
I just did the thing where because it was obviously a preview event, they just set up several saves, so I loaded after a couple of hours, I just loaded a different save and just took my horse somewhere and went away.
That's
but
amazing.
it was just, you've gone from a super violent, really awesome medieval action to being don't run. Stop running while you're running.
Yeah.
Now you have to be quiet now, and you have to you'll have to stand there and just do mass.
That's great. I imagine. I'd like to think that the better you are at being a monk, the sooner you'll catch the assassin.
Well, that's the idea, is that if you don't do things properly, you'll then get disciplined and caught, and obviously you can only get caught a certain number of times before they're you're not really a monk, are you? And then obviously the whole thing's gone Pete Tong anyway, so you can't do anything about it. But yeah, it was, yeah.
That sounds great.
And you can play it all soon on February 13th.
I would like to, please.
I really wanted to think of something that wasn't a horror game going too far, but I failed, and it's a horror game. And it's Outlast, which is probably because it's one of the few horror games I've actually seen through to the end. Not because I wanted to, yeah, it's because you made me, that's right, and the DLC. But Outlast, there are several moments in Outlast that I think perfectly fit the bill for going too far. We've spoken before about when you lose the camera and you're just in the pitch black. That's too far. That is really horrible. Rob, you're a big fan of The Groom and his
The Groom is as far as you can go.
his tastes. And The Groom is bad. I mean, The Groom is really bad. For some reason, that is not as vivid a memory for me. There was the moment I have chosen, which is when Traeger cuts off your fingers. The whole thing is horrible. I mean, obviously, the whole game is horrible, but this particular bit, if you haven't seen it, if you don't remember, at this particular point, you are running away. You're in this sort of almost not abandoned, but kind of abandoned by sanity anyway, hospital. There are horrible kind of patients everywhere who want to kill you, and you're just a man who's armed only with his night vision camera, who's trying to find someone. Is it his wife? I can't remember. Anyway, you've decided this is a bad hospital and I'm just a journalist and I should probably escape, which he should have figured out a lot sooner. He's trying to escape. At this particular point, he's trying to get into is it a dumbwaiter? You know, those really small lifts that are just for plates?
Oh, yeah.
You're running away, you're getting chased by these guys, you have to get into this dumbwaiter, you get in, you're like, oh, a moment of respite. It goes up and Traeger is waiting for you on the other side. You're completely trapped. And Traeger, if you haven't played the game, is he's basically a man with the tightest skin in the world. It like reveals all of his muscles. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that he has skin, because it just looks like muscles. I don't know what he's done to himself. He's like wrapped like HDMI cables around his arms, and he's wearing, thankfully, a little apron, but that's all he's wearing, which you see regularly when he turns around. So he's there, he beats you up a bit, and he sticks you in a wheelchair. And you're tied into this wheelchair. And then there's like a 2-minute section where he's wheeling you through the hospital. This is why I think it's partly so horrible, because you're completely stuck now. You're trapped. You're in a hospital. You know that it's a bad situation. You know that this guy is a bad guy, and there's nothing you can do. Playing the game, you can't escape. There's no hope of escape. You just have to enjoy it. And he talks so sort of, concisely and calmly. You know, one of those bad guys who speaks so calmly. You want him to be like screaming and shouting, but instead he's just like, "Oh yes, welcome. Oh, I've got a surprise." He's because he's taking you somewhere. It's particularly horrible. He's obviously got something planned. There's like blood on the floor that's smeared in a way that I kind of have inferred that he's taken people this way before. And where he's actually taking you is the men's bathroom. Hooray! And he does a couple of horrible things. First of all, you're in a men's toilet. Secondly, you are tied down. You can't do anything. You can't struggle. Thirdly, he keeps his tools, in inverted commas, in the urinal. And he brings over this massive knife at one point, and he's got your hand, and he's got this huge knife, and you think, oh God, he's going to cut off my fingers. And he kind of just measures it up, and then he goes away, and the music kind of dies down, and there's oh, thank God, it's not going to do that. And then he comes with these massive shears. He's like, yes, fingers. And then it's over really quick, and then he's shouting, and then he chops off not one but 2 fingers. It's horrible. You don't actually see it because you're sort of screaming in pain at the time. And you look down, and it's not the whole finger. He's cut it off about here, and there's a bit of flesh, and then a little bit of bone poking out the top, and he's done one of these as well. And is it too far? Is it too far? I think it might be too far. It made me very uncomfortable. It's really not very fun. And then he goes away, and I can't remember how you escape, but all I remember is you get up and you just vomit everywhere a few times, which is that's exactly what I would do. It's the most horrible thing.
Okay, so a bit in a game that went too far for me. It's not a scary thing. It's not a thing that's really hard. It's not. You don't have to do the monk thing, Holly.
It's not the monk thing.
It's in Final Fantasy X. You've just done the Blitzball bit in Luca. You're about to continue on your quest to the Mi'ihen High Road, and Tidus, your main character, is feeling a bit sad.
Oh,
he's a bit mopey. He's like, I don't know. If I can carry on with this adventure at the moment. And Yuna, who later on in the story transpires she has a lot of things on her shoulders and she doesn't need to be babysitting Tidus all the time. Tidus annoys me throughout the game. But this scene, and I'm sure every Final Fantasy fan will agree with me, just should have stopped maybe 2 or 3 minutes before it does stop.
I'm excited to hear this.
This scene goes way too far. Way too far. And Yuna, to try and cheer Tidus up, says, you know what I do to make myself feel a bit better when I'm feeling sad is I just laugh. I just, even if I'm feeling sad, I just laugh anyway, and I force myself to laugh and smile, and it will just make you feel better. And Tidus is like, oh no, don't, really? I mean, how'd you do that then? And Yuna proceeds to like show him how she does it,
Right.
and how to make. Oh no, I don't think she does show him. She just says, okay, just laugh, just open your mouth and laugh. And Tidus is just like,
That's horrific.
It's the laughing thing.
it's the laughing thing.
Even you know
And
I'm aware of it.
and-
I didn't know this backstory to it.
And anyway, I think, I can't remember who it was, either my sister or my mum was in the room at the time I was playing this for the first time.
Yeah.
And this loud scene comes on,
Yeah.
and they're just like, what are you playing? It's one of those scenes where you just wish that no one else was in the room with you.
Yeah.
You just like, just get it over with, please.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was a bit weird. And then he just keeps on doing it.
Oh no.
And then Tidus finds it funny, his bad
Right,
laughing, and Yuna
right.
finds it funny, and they start doing it together.
Oh god.
And they, in harmony, do this awful fake laugh that's just like, ha 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 ha.
Oh my
And it
God.
goes on and on and on. And it just doesn't stop. They just keep doing it
Really?
for ages. And all your other party members are standing around like,
Is this like a cutscene?
yeah, it's a cutscene.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Big old
Unskippable.
cutscene, an unskippable cutscene. I was just there like, please, could I continue playing the game now?
Why? What
And
a weird.
And it was one of the first like VO'd
Yeah.
Final Fantasy games.
It was
as
the
well.
first,
Yeah.
the first Final Fantasy with voice acting.
no.
So voice acting in video games, I think it's fair to say, back then it was not as sophisticated as it is now.
Yeah.
When you look at something like Uncharted or The Last of Us, it's, you would say, movie quality acting
Yeah.
in that. This was not. I don't think the voice acting is bad in Final Fantasy X, but this one scene. But yeah, so it's not scary. It just went too far in terms of the embarrassment I felt watching it with like people in the room,
Yeah.
and you know everyone at that stage is like, oh, why are you playing these Final Fantasy games? For goodness sake,
Yeah.
you know, play a proper game like with cars or footballs in it.
Football.
And I was playing Final Fantasy, and you know, you
I
just
like
want to
my
show, you just want to
stories.
show them all the good bits, like all the cool, amazing fights and the CG sequences, and yet no, they're there when the ha ha ha's going on,
Yeah.
and it
Too
went too far,
Far, far.
far, 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 far.
Stop it now.
So, I consider myself to be quite a nice person. I don't know if that's
Boo.
true or not. If I play an RPG, I'd err on the side of good, I think.
Yeah.
Certainly not evil. And I would certainly not ever think about smashing someone to death with a golf club.
Okay.
However,
Thanks for sharing.
this leads me on to my point. In BioShock, there is a moment where you lose control of the game and you are forced to smash someone up with a golf club.
Okay.
That
And
person,
we should point out that you like golf.
yes,
in
and
fact-
BioShock.
In fact, don't you own some golf clubs?
I do own some
Okay.
golf clubs, so I know how much they would hurt. So this is of course BioShock, and it's Andrew Ryan, who is sort of the unseen antagonist of the game up to this point. You just kind of see him on the TV screens, he kind of talks to you over the radio, and other people throughout the game are telling you how sort of evil he is. But as the game progresses, you kind of learn that it may be not as all as it seems, and he's maybe not that evil. And just before you go into the room to meet him, about halfway through the game, a few things are revealed that make you think twice about going in to just walk in and shoot him. So for me, that's how I felt. I thought, I'm not going to go in there and just shoot him because he's not the mean guy that I've been told about.
Right.
But as soon as the door opens and he's just there putting, he's just having a bit of golf to himself in his office, you suddenly control is taken away from you. The game goes widescreen, your hands drop away from the screen, and he just comes out and has a conversation with you. And I'm thinking, this is lovely, just having a nice talk.
We can talk it through.
This is what I wanted,
I
you
was
know.
right
I
about
didn't
this
want to.
guy.
I thought the game's going to ask me to go in there and just shoot him in the head. Bit much. Don't want to do that. But now I'm just having a conversation. And as he talks to you, you find out there's this whole mind control thing going on, and he gives you the golf club, and you proceed to just beat him to death with this club. And I think it ends with the end of the club sticking out of his forehead.
Oh.
I mean, you really go at it for a long time,
Yeah.
and it's really quite horrible. I mean, there's blood everywhere. I think the worst thing about it is that it's obviously later revealed that he is not actually that much of a bad guy at all, and there's someone else above him. But it's just the fact that you have no control over it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. You
Really
went
bad.
too far. You did, Dan. You went too
It's
far.
not me. I didn't go too far. The
Would you
game
kindly
forced me.
go too far
Don't
with the
start,
plot?
would you kindly? Awful.
Oh.
Best plot twists.
But also really good, so I sort of forgive it. Yeah,
Yeah.
really nice.
Really nice.
Like me.
I like to pronounce it Tidus, by the way, but I know the official pronunciation is Tidus.
I say Tidus, and I don't
So-
give a crap.
If you're in the comments saying, is it pronounced Tidus? No, it's pronounced Tidus, even though I pronounce it Tidus. So, Tidus is feeling sad.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
Yeah, Tidus, please, please stop laughing. So there we are. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment to tell us about some gaming moments that went too far for you, and join us again next week for another Tuesday checklist.